Secret societies have long captured the human imagination, cloaked in layers of mystery, symbolism, and secrecy. From the enigmatic Freemasons in Europe to clandestine organizations in Asia and the Americas, these groups have existed for centuries, often operating in the shadows of mainstream society. Their allure comes not only from their exclusivity, but also from the perception that they guard hidden knowledge, engage in esoteric rituals, and exert influence far beyond what the public sees. In many ways, they represent a fascination with the unknown, a curiosity about what lies beyond ordinary human experience, and a temptation to peer into worlds that are deliberately kept hidden from outsiders. One of the most compelling aspects of secret societies is the rituals they employ to initiate, bind, and test their members. These ceremonies are not mere performances or symbolic gestures. They are often intense, demanding, and, in some cases, extremely dangerous. Initiates are frequently required to endure physical pain, confront psychological challenges, or even risk their lives as a demonstration of loyalty, courage, or spiritual commitment. For outsiders, these rituals seem both captivating and terrifying because they blur the line between devotion and danger, pushing participants into extremes that most of us could scarcely imagine. In this video, we will explore some of the most dangerous rituals practiced within secret societies around the world. From acts that involve physical harm to those that manipulate the mind or challenge the body to its limits, each practice reveals something about the human desire for belonging, secrecy, and transcendence. By examining these rituals, we can gain insight not only into the societies themselves, but also into the ways in which extreme devotion can lead people to confront, and sometimes cross, the boundaries of personal safety and societal norms. These rituals are not simply historical curiosities. They continue to exist in various forms today, echoing ancient practices while reminding us of the potent combination of fear, trust, and commitment that drives human behavior in secretive communities. Among the most infamous and visceral rituals in secret societies are blood oaths, ceremonies in which initiates symbolically or literally offer their own blood as a mark of loyalty, obedience, or unity. These rituals are designed to create an unbreakable bond between the participant and the society, a physical and psychological marker of commitment that is difficult to undo. The act of shedding one's own blood in the presence of fellow members carries deep symbolic weight, representing both a surrender of personal autonomy and a willingness to endure pain or risk for the group's ideals. It is an extreme demonstration of trust, where the participant literally leaves a piece of themselves behind in the service of secrecy and allegiance. Historically, blood oaths have been recorded in a wide range of societies. In some European secret societies, the act involved pricking a finger or cutting the palm and pressing it onto a ceremonial document, sealing the oath with blood. In other cultures, the practice could be far more extreme, involving deeper cuts or even the mingling of blood among initiates. The danger inherent in such practices is not merely symbolic. Blood carries a host of biological risks. Infections, excessive bleeding, and the transmission of diseases are all real hazards. Even in controlled settings, accidents can happen, and the physical toll can be severe. These rituals often demand that initiates maintain composure under intense physical stress, testing not only courage, but also the ability to withstand pain without betraying fear or hesitation. The psychological impact of blood oaths is equally profound. By forcing an individual to commit their own life essence to the group, the society creates a powerful sense of obligation and interdependence. Breaking such an oath is not only socially and morally taboo, but is often feared as spiritually dangerous. Myths and legends surrounding blood oaths amplify this fear, with stories of dire consequences for those who fail to honor the commitment, ranging from social exile to mystical retribution. In some accounts, the blood oath is so binding that it becomes a lifelong psychological anchor, shaping behavior and loyalty long after the ceremony itself has ended. What makes blood oaths particularly striking is the combination of ritualistic solemnity and tangible risk. Unlike symbolic gestures that can be easily undone, blood oaths carry a permanent, visible mark of the participant's devotion. This permanence amplifies the tension of the ritual, reinforcing the idea that membership in the society is not a casual affiliation, but a profound, often dangerous, commitment. Across cultures and centuries, these oaths have served to intimidate, unify, and indoctrinate, demonstrating the lengths to which secret societies will go to secure loyalty and the extraordinary pressures placed on those who wish to belong. Another dangerous and deeply grueling practice in certain secret societies is extreme fasting, sometimes escalating into prolonged periods of near starvation. Unlike casual or symbolic fasting, these rituals are designed to push the body and mind to their absolute limits, serving as both a test of endurance and a demonstration of devotion. Participants are often required to abstain from food, and sometimes even water for days, or to survive on minimal sustenance, all while performing the other tasks or duties demanded by the society. The intent behind these practices is multifaceted. By depriving the body, the ritual creates heightened focus, sharpens spiritual awareness, and cultivates a sense of discipline. But it also serves as a filter, identifying only those willing to endure extreme hardship to prove their loyalty. The physical dangers of such fasting are significant. The human body relies on regular nourishment to maintain essential functions, and when deprived of calories for extended periods, it begins to break down muscle tissue, weaken the immune system, and impair cognitive function. Extended fasting can lead to dizziness, fainting, organ failure, and, in extreme cases, death. In societies where these rituals are intertwined with other physically demanding tasks, such as overnight vigils, intense meditation, or exposure to harsh environments, the risk is exponentially higher. Documented accounts from various cultures describe initiates collapsing during ceremonies, suffering long-term health consequences, or, tragically, never surviving the ordeal. The danger is compounded by the pressure to maintain composure and secrecy. Failure is not only physically punished, but socially stigmatized within the society. Psychologically, extreme fasting is just as taxing as it is physically. Hunger and sleep deprivation can alter perception, heighten suggestibility, and increase vulnerability to manipulation, which some secret societies may exploit to instill obedience or acceptance of the group's ideology. For the initiates, the hunger becomes a dual challenge, a test of mental resilience and a transformative experience that can create a profound sense of accomplishment or spiritual awakening. In many cases, surviving these trials becomes a badge of honor, a symbol that the individual has endured what few others could, and that they have earned a permanent place within the secretive inner circle. Historically, examples of these extreme fasting rituals can be found across the globe. Indigenous societies in the Americas, mystical brotherhoods in Asia, and esoteric European orders have all incorporated fasting into their initiation processes. While some of these rituals were steeped in spiritual or religious symbolism, the underlying principle remained the same. The initiate must confront the limits of their own body, endure suffering, and emerge fundamentally transformed, whether through perceived enlightenment, reinforced loyalty, or the raw demonstration of willpower. This dangerous blending of spiritual aspiration and physical risk makes extreme fasting one of the most taxing and potentially deadly rituals practiced in secret societies. Among the most visually and physically striking rituals practiced in secret societies are fire and heat trials, ceremonies designed to confront participants with extreme temperatures as a test of courage, faith, and resilience. These rituals often involve walking barefoot across burning embers, holding hands in flames, sitting or kneeling near intense heat sources, or enduring scalding steam or fire-generated smoke. The goal is not merely to intimidate, but to create a profound psychological and spiritual experience, forcing the initiate to confront fear and pain in a controlled yet highly dangerous environment. Fire has long been a symbol of purification, transformation, and power across cultures, and secret societies have adopted this elemental force as a way to physically and symbolically burn away weakness, doubt, or impurity. The risks involved in these trials are immediate and tangible. Burns, infections, and scarring are common hazards, while more severe incidents can result in permanent disability or death. Even when supervised and carefully managed, accidents happen with shocking frequency because human error, miscalculations, or the unpredictability of fire can turn ritual into catastrophe in seconds. Historically, records from certain Asian and African secret societies describe initiation ceremonies in which participants' feet or hands were blistered or badly burned, yet these marks were later celebrated as badges of courage and proof of membership. The severity of the physical challenge ensures that only those with extraordinary nerve or determination survive intact, reinforcing the hierarchy and exclusivity within the society. The risks involved in these trials are immediate and tangible. Burns, infections, and scarring are common hazards, while more severe incidents can result in permanent disability or death. Even when supervised and carefully managed, accidents happen with shocking frequency because human error, miscalculations, or the unpredictability of fire can turn ritual into catastrophe in seconds. Historically, records from certain Asian and African secret societies describe initiation ceremonies in which participants' feet or hands were blistered or badly burned, yet these marks were later celebrated as badges of courage and proof of membership. The severity of the physical challenge ensures that only those with extraordinary nerve or determination survive intact, reinforcing the hierarchy and exclusivity within the society. Beyond the physical danger, fire and heat trials exert immense psychological pressure. Participants are placed in extreme discomfort, confronting instinctive fear responses and testing their ability to remain calm under life-threatening conditions. The ritual environment is often amplified by chanting, darkness, or ceremonial music, intensifying the emotional and sensory impact. This combination of fear, pain, and ritualized performance produces a powerful psychological imprint, creating lasting memories of survival that bond the initiate to the society. Many who endure these trials report a profound sense of transformation, as if the fire has purged them of weakness or initiated them into a deeper understanding of the group's purpose. Culturally, fire rituals carry additional layers of meaning. In some societies, the trial signifies spiritual rebirth, the destruction of ego, or a literal passage through danger to emerge spiritually stronger. In others, it is a test of loyalty, designed to determine whether an initiate can endure life-threatening situations without hesitation or betrayal. Documented accidents and fatalities, however, remind us that these rituals are not symbolic gestures alone. They are real tests of human limits, blending mysticism, fear, and mortality in ways that continue to shock outsiders. Fire and heat trials exemplify the extreme lengths secret societies will go to cultivate obedience, resilience, and identity, creating experiences that are unforgettable, transformative, and, above all, dangerous. Another category of dangerous rituals within secret societies involves the use of hallucinogenic or psychoactive substances, sometimes referred to as visionary or mind-altering ceremonies. Unlike purely physical trials, These rituals target the mind, deliberately altering perception, consciousness, and emotional state to induce experiences that are considered mystical, transformative, or revealing of hidden truths. Participants may ingest potent plant-based substances, brewed concoctions, or synthetic chemicals under the guidance of experienced members or shamans, with the intention of opening the mind to spiritual visions, unlocking creativity, or fostering deep loyalty to the group. While these substances are often framed as gateways to enlightenment, they carry serious risks, as the human brain is vulnerable to chemical disruption, especially under intense ceremonial or psychological pressure. The dangers of these rituals are both physiological and psychological. Certain psychoactive substances can provoke seizures, extreme nausea, cardiovascular strain, or even fatal reactions if improperly prepared or consumed in excessive amounts. Beyond the immediate physical threats, the psychological effects can be profound and unpredictable. Hallucinations can trigger panic, paranoia, or long-lasting psychosis, particularly in individuals with a predisposition to mental illness. In some secret societies, the ritual context compounds these effects. Initiates are often isolated, confronted with intense sensory stimulation, or instructed to surrender completely to the experience, increasing the risk of trauma. There are recorded cases where participants suffered permanent psychological damage, including recurring nightmares, dissociation, and enduring anxiety, illustrating that these rituals are far from benign experiments in altered consciousness. Culturally and symbolically, the use of hallucinogens within secret societies often serves multiple purposes. On one level, it is a method of induction, forcing the initiate to confront the unknown and navigate fear, confusion, or awe. On another, it reinforces group cohesion. Shared experiences of visions or trance states create an intense emotional bond between participants, while the perception that only members can safely navigate these experiences strengthens the society's exclusivity. In some societies, these rituals are designed to reveal forbidden knowledge, allowing initiates to witness sacred or secret truths that outsiders cannot perceive. The perceived authenticity of the visions, combined with the intense ritual context, often creates a sense of irrevocable commitment, binding the participant to the society in ways that are both spiritual and psychological. Examples of such practices can be found across continents and centuries. Indigenous groups in the Amazon basin, certain mystical orders in Africa, and even esoteric Western societies have incorporated psychoactive rituals into their ceremonies. While the specific substances and methods differ, the principle remains the same: inducing an altered state to push initiates beyond ordinary perception and into extreme experiences that test their resilience, loyalty, and ability to submit to the group's authority. The combination of chemical risk, psychological intensity, and ritualized pressure makes these ceremonies among the most unpredictable and hazardous practices within secret societies, demonstrating once again that the pursuit of spiritual or mystical insight often comes hand in hand with real danger. Knife and blade ceremonies represent some of the most visceral and physically dangerous rituals practiced within secret societies, where initiates are required to cut, scar, or injure themselves as a demonstration of loyalty, courage, or spiritual purification. Unlike symbolic gestures, these practices involve real, sometimes severe physical harm. Participants might use daggers, ritual knives, or even ceremonial swords to draw blood, carve patterns into their skin, or endure controlled injuries under the watchful eyes of senior members. The use of a blade transforms the ritual into a confrontation with mortality, demanding composure, trust, and an extraordinary tolerance for pain. These ceremonies often combine physical challenge with intense psychological pressure, forcing initiates to confront fear, accept vulnerability, and submit entirely to the authority of the society. The dangers of knife and blade rituals are immediate and obvious. Deep cuts, accidental severing of nerves or tendons, and severe blood loss are all real risks, and even minor injuries can become life-threatening if not treated promptly. Infection is another serious concern, especially when multiple participants are involved and ceremonial knives are shared. Despite precautions, documented cases show that some initiates have suffered permanent scars, debilitating injuries, or even death during these ceremonies. The very design of the ritual, requiring precision, restraint, and an extreme level of trust in others, creates a situation in which error is not only possible but, in some societies, almost inevitable. Survival itself becomes a proof of worthiness and resilience, a testament to the participants' commitment to the group. Psychologically, knife rituals are equally intense. The act of willingly injuring oneself in a public, ceremonial context forces a confrontation with personal limits, fear, and mortality. The ritual often emphasizes control over both body and mind, teaching the initiate to endure pain without displaying hesitation or weakness. Beyond personal fortitude, the shared experience of wounding or being wounded can foster extraordinary bonds between members, cementing loyalty and reinforcing the hierarchy of the society. In some societies, the scars themselves serve as lifelong symbols of initiation, visible reminders that the individual has paid a tangible, painful price for belonging. Historically, knife and blade ceremonies appear across diverse cultures. Indigenous tribal societies, mystical brotherhoods in Asia, and secret European orders have all used scarification or ritual cutting as a rite of passage. In many cases, the practice is framed as spiritual purification, a symbolic shedding of weakness, ego, or past sins. In others, it is a test of courage and endurance, a public demonstration of the initiate's willingness to confront danger and obey the rules of the society. What unites these practices is their reliance on immediate physical risk, the psychological weight of intentional injury, and the powerful symbolism of blood and pain as a conduit for loyalty and transformation. Knife and blade ceremonies, in their combination of fear, danger, and symbolic significance, remain among the most extreme and hazardous rituals secret societies have ever devised. Isolation and sensory deprivation are some of the most insidious and psychologically taxing rituals employed by secret societies, relying not on physical injury but on the mind's vulnerability to extreme conditions. In these ceremonies, initiates may be confined to dark, enclosed spaces for extended periods, sometimes with little to no human contact, minimal sustenance, or deliberate deprivation of sound, light, and other sensory inputs. The goal is to strip away comfort, familiarity, and external distractions, forcing the participant into a heightened state of self-awareness, reflection, or submission. What begins as a test of endurance quickly transforms into an intense psychological experiment, exposing the fragility of human perception and the mind's susceptibility to fear, suggestion, and hallucination. The dangers of prolonged isolation are profound. The human brain relies on sensory input and social interaction to maintain cognitive balance, and when deprived, it begins to produce distortions, heightened anxiety, and extreme disorientation. In extreme cases, individuals subjected to long periods of confinement can experience hallucinations, paranoia, or a dissociative break from reality. Physically, isolation can also exacerbate exhaustion, malnutrition, and vulnerability to illness, particularly if the participant is already engaged in other demanding aspects of initiation. Secret societies often push these conditions deliberately, creating environments designed to test mental resilience and obedience, knowing that some individuals will struggle or even collapse under the strain. Psychologically, these rituals are terrifyingly effective. The isolation forces the initiate to confront their deepest fears, insecurities, and vulnerabilities without distraction or comfort, often in a context where surrendering or expressing weakness is socially unacceptable. The experience can induce profound introspection and self-transformation, as some participants report emerging from the ritual with an altered sense of identity or loyalty. Simultaneously, the trauma of sensory deprivation creates a heightened dependency on the society that imposed it, as the outside world becomes alien and unsafe in comparison to the structure and guidance offered within the group. This combination of fear, manipulation, and enforced reflection is a powerful tool for reinforcing control and loyalty. Examples of such practices appear across cultures and centuries. In some indigenous and mystical societies, initiates were placed alone in caves, underground chambers, or remote wilderness areas for days or weeks, emerging only when considered mentally and spiritually ready. In secret Western fraternities, controlled forms of sensory deprivation, such as blindfolded confinement, silence, or solitary vigil, serve similar purposes, testing both courage and psychological endurance. Across all these practices, the underlying principle remains the same. Extreme solitude and deprivation function as a crucible, forcing the initiate to confront inner turmoil, fear, and dependency, often leaving lasting psychological marks. Isolation and sensory deprivation rituals demonstrate the remarkable extent to which secret societies manipulate perception and cognition, creating experiences that are profoundly transformative but inherently dangerous. Ritual combat and extreme physical endurance tests represent some of the most aggressive and perilous practices within secret societies, demanding not only courage and resilience, but also the ability to withstand injury or even life-threatening situations. These ceremonies often involve hand-to-hand combat, competitive dueling, or dangerous stunts designed to push participants to their physical and mental limits. The objective is multifaceted. Initiates are tested for bravery, loyalty, and stamina, while the society simultaneously reinforces hierarchy, cohesion, and obedience. The acts themselves are brutal and intense, often blending elements of sport, survival, and ritualized violence to create a transformative experience that leaves no doubt about the participants' commitment. The physical risks associated with these tests are extreme. Participants may suffer broken bones, deep lacerations, concussions, or other traumatic injuries. In some cases, the combat is designed to simulate mortal danger, with rules that allow for significant risk, while in other practices, participants endure prolonged physical trials, such as running long distances without rest, carrying heavy weights, or performing grueling labor under extreme conditions. Accidents are common, and the combination of exhaustion, adrenaline, and high stakes can easily result in lasting damage or even death. These rituals are designed to identify those who possess exceptional strength, endurance, and mental fortitude, while eliminating, or at least filtering out, those who cannot withstand the extreme demands of membership. Psychologically, ritual combat tests function as both intimidation and initiation. Being placed in situations where injury or failure is a realistic possibility forces the participant to confront fear and control their emotional responses. Those who endure emerge with a heightened sense of self, confidence, and alignment with the society's values. The shared experience of danger and pain fosters intense bonds among participants, creating loyalty that is forged in blood, sweat, and exertion. In many cases, surviving such trials becomes a permanent rite of passage, symbolizing the initiate's readiness to assume the responsibilities and privileges of full membership. Historically, Ritual combat and endurance tests have appeared in a wide range of secretive groups around the world. Some African and South American societies used mock warfare and physical trials to prepare young men for adulthood and societal roles, while European secret societies incorporated dueling and endurance challenges to instill courage and hierarchy. In Asia, certain mystical or martial orders subjected initiates to physically punishing rites, combining combat techniques with spiritual or symbolic meaning. Across these diverse contexts, the underlying principle remains consistent. Testing the body in extreme conditions creates a tangible, undeniable measure of commitment and capability. Ritual combat and endurance tests remain among the most physically demanding and dangerous practices, demonstrating the lengths to which secret societies push their members to prove loyalty, courage, and resilience. Some of the most dangerous rituals in secret societies are not merely physical or psychological trials, but involve the pursuit of forbidden knowledge or the enactment of socially and legally taboo practices. These rituals often place initiates in situations where they must perform acts that are considered illegal, morally questionable, or culturally prohibited, testing their willingness to transgress boundaries in the name of loyalty, secrecy, or enlightenment. The danger in these practices is twofold. There is the immediate risk of legal or social consequences if discovered, and the deeper, more insidious psychological risk of confronting moral or ethical dilemmas that can leave lasting emotional or spiritual trauma. By exposing participants to actions and knowledge that are intentionally hidden from society, these rituals create an intense, often transformative sense of exclusivity and power. Forbidden knowledge rituals can take many forms. Some involve the revelation of secret doctrines, mystical formulas, or esoteric wisdom that outsiders are considered unworthy or incapable of understanding. Initiates may be required to memorize, recite, or internalize information that is deliberately arcane, dangerous, or disturbing, creating a sense of awe and fear. Other societies demand participation in acts that violate social norms or taboos, ranging from symbolic transgressions to more extreme behaviors that push ethical boundaries. The aim is to cultivate obedience and test the participants' commitment. The individual must demonstrate that their allegiance to the group outweighs fear of societal judgment, personal conscience, or moral discomfort. The risks inherent in these practices extend beyond the ritual itself. Discovery by authorities or outsiders can result in criminal charges, public scandal, or social ostracization. Within the society, failing to properly perform the ritual or reveal the knowledge can provoke punishment, shaming, or expulsion. Psychologically, the internal conflict generated by participating in forbidden or morally ambiguous acts can cause guilt, anxiety, or long-term cognitive dissonance. By placing the initiate in morally and socially dangerous situations, the society ensures that membership is not merely symbolic, but a profound and sometimes perilous commitment that cannot be taken lightly. Culturally, forbidden knowledge and taboo rituals often serve a dual purpose. They consolidate secrecy and elevate the status of those who endure them. The participant who navigates these challenges successfully gains a sense of superior insight or spiritual authority, while simultaneously reinforcing the society's hierarchical structure. Across history, examples are plentiful. Esoteric European lodges promised initiates access to hidden wisdom that outsiders were warned could be dangerous to the unprepared mind. Certain indigenous or mystical societies required the performance of taboo ceremonies to achieve spiritual growth. And modern secretive groups sometimes continue traditions that test obedience to socially or legally risky commands. The combination of legal, ethical, and psychological peril makes these practices uniquely dangerous, highlighting that the most profound risks within secret societies are not always visible on the surface, but lie in the shadowed interplay between knowledge, obedience, and secrecy. Among the most terrifying and potentially lethal practices within secret societies are breath control and suffocation trials, rituals that involve restricting air intake to induce physical and psychological stress. These ceremonies test an individual's ability to endure extreme discomfort, fear, and the primal instinct for survival, creating experiences that are as mentally transformative as they are physically dangerous. Participants may be asked to hold their breath for extended periods, be restrained in ways that limit airflow, or even simulate near asphyxiation under the guidance of senior members. The perceived purpose is to demonstrate courage, obedience, and the ability to confront the most fundamental threat to human life: the deprivation of air. The dangers of these trials are immediate and severe. Oxygen deprivation affects the brain and body quickly, leading to dizziness, unconsciousness, and, if prolonged, permanent brain damage or death. Even brief periods of extreme breath control can cause panic, loss of motor coordination, or cardiac stress. Unlike other forms of ritual, where injuries may be survivable or symbolic, suffocation carries a real and present risk every moment the ceremony is in progress. Participants are often pushed to their limits, their bodies responding with involuntary gasps and reflexive struggle, which paradoxically increases the danger. Any miscalculation in timing, technique, or supervision can transform a ceremonial test into a fatal accident. Historically, such trials have appeared in societies where control over the body and mind is seen as a demonstration of spiritual, psychological, or hierarchical mastery. In some secretive orders, breath control exercises were integrated with meditation, chanting, or symbolic gestures, with the aim of teaching initiates to remain calm under extreme stress. Other societies have used the practice as a rite of endurance, forcing individuals to confront the most primal fear, death by suffocation, in order to earn trust, status, or access to hidden knowledge. Anthropologists and historians studying such rituals report that participants often describe intense feelings of detachment from reality, heightened awareness, or a sense of transcending the body, experiences that reinforce the society's perception of the ritual as transformative. The symbolic dimension of these trials is profound. Breath, life, and consciousness are intimately linked, making the temporary deprivation of oxygen a powerful metaphor for submission, transformation, and rebirth. By enduring suffocation, participants demonstrate both literal and symbolic mastery over fear, establishing a psychological bond with the society and its hierarchy. The ritual also fosters trust and obedience, as participants must rely on senior members to control the timing and intensity of the experience. Failure, collapse, or panic may not only lead to physical harm, but social consequences, as the individual's courage, self-control, and worthiness are judged by both peers and mentors. Among the more psychologically and symbolically intricate practices within secret societies are labyrinth or maze initiations, ceremonies designed to test navigation, endurance, and mental resilience under extreme stress. Unlike physical endurance trials or suffocation rites, these rituals combine elements of physical challenge, sensory manipulation, and psychological pressure, creating an experience that is both disorienting and transformative. Participants are often placed in complex mazes or labyrinthine structures, sometimes in total darkness, where they must navigate winding passages, dead ends, and obstacles without guidance. The goal is not only to complete the physical challenge, but to confront fear, uncertainty, and the internal struggle to remain composed when the familiar structures of the world are stripped away. The dangers inherent in these rituals are multifaceted. Physically, Participants risk falls, injuries from sharp turns or uneven surfaces, exhaustion, and dehydration, particularly if the maze is combined with fasting, sleep deprivation, or other endurance challenges. Psychologically, the experience can be intense and disorienting. The loss of spatial reference, prolonged solitude, and sense of entrapment can induce panic, anxiety, and disorientation. In extreme cases, initiates may suffer acute stress reactions, dissociation, or long-term anxiety disorders. The maze serves as a crucible, amplifying innate fears while forcing participants to engage their problem-solving skills and maintain self-control under pressure. The unpredictability of the environment ensures that the trial remains dangerous, as a single misstep can lead to injury, collapse, or psychological breakdown. Historically, labyrinthine initiations draw on symbolic concepts that date back centuries, if not millennia. Mazes and labyrinths have long represented the journey of the self, the confrontation with the unknown, and the path to enlightenment or higher understanding. Within secret societies, the physical act of navigating a maze mirrors the metaphorical journey into the inner workings of the organization. One must persist through confusion, confront internal and external obstacles, and emerge transformed on the other side. In some societies, labyrinths were designed with additional challenges, such as symbolic traps, ritualistic tasks, or guided illusions, intensifying the psychological and spiritual impact. Success demonstrated not only physical endurance, but the initiate's ability to navigate uncertainty, follow subtle cues, and maintain composure under pressure, qualities deemed essential for full membership. Labyrinth initiations also reinforce social and hierarchical structures within the society. Those who complete the trial are celebrated, their resilience and determination serving as benchmarks for new initiates. Observers or senior members often use the trial to evaluate temperament, intelligence, and adherence to the society's rules, turning the maze into a mechanism of assessment as well as a rite of passage. The very design of the maze, confusing, treacherous, and psychologically taxing, ensures that only those capable of combining courage, problem-solving, and endurance will succeed, reinforcing the exclusivity and authority of the inner circle. The maze thus becomes both a literal and metaphorical filter, separating the committed from the unprepared, the strong-willed from the hesitant, and the disciplined from the impulsive. Throughout history, secret societies have maintained an enduring mystique precisely because of the extremes to which they push their members. The rituals we've explored reveal a common thread. Each is designed to test, transform, and control the human body, mind, and spirit in ways that are often dangerous, sometimes deadly, and always profound. These practices are not mere theatrics or symbolic gestures. They are carefully constructed experiences that impose real physical risk, psychological strain, and moral challenge on those who seek to join. The danger is part of the point, a tangible measure of loyalty, courage, and commitment that cannot be simulated or easily undone. What emerges from examining these rituals is an understanding of why secret societies continue to fascinate outsiders while exerting intense influence over their members. They operate in a space where fear, reverence, and obedience intersect, creating an environment in which ordinary human limits are tested and transcended. The danger, whether through physical injury, mental strain, or moral compromise, serves both to intimidate and to forge bonds that are exceptionally difficult to break. Those who endure these rituals are marked, physically, psychologically, and symbolically, as members of a world few outsiders are permitted to glimpse. It is a world where devotion and danger are inseparable, and where the price of belonging is often extreme. At the same time, these rituals highlight the universal human desires that underlie secret societies: the need for identity, the search for meaning, and the longing for connection to something greater than oneself. The extremes of these practices, however, serve as a stark reminder of the peril that accompanies devotion when it is bound to secrecy, hierarchy, and unquestioned authority. Secret societies, by insisting on these dangerous rites, ensure that membership is never casual or accidental. It is earned through endurance, risk, and sacrifice. In the end, the rituals of secret societies challenge us to consider the fine line between dedication and recklessness, between spiritual or social transformation and life-threatening obsession. They remind us that the human drive for belonging and transcendence can inspire extraordinary acts of courage and endurance, but it can also lead individuals into perilous territory where the costs are as real as they are permanent. The legacy of these practices is a complex blend of fear, fascination, and respect, a testament to the extremes humans are willing to face in the pursuit of loyalty, secrecy, and the unknown.